Project Tribute Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to aiding our nation's first responders. Our vision and mission is to enhance the life-saving capabilities of our first responders through raising awareness and funding for the life-saving work that they do. Our goal with the podcast is to be an educational avenue and a method for our heroes to express themselves. In the podcast, we will discuss various tough subjects. Some of the subjects may be uncomfortable or controversial. Our guests have the right to share their thoughts and ideas, and for our listeners to hear the unedited words of our guests. The Foundation's role is to showcase a diverse array of thoughts and opinions within the first responder community. If you hear something that you do not agree with, please consider reaching out to us at projecttributefoundation@gmail.com and join our podcast. If you're a first responder and you would like to share your story, we truly would love to hear from you and learn from your experiences. Please enjoy this week's show, and as always, like, comment, and share to help us grow. You can find more information at www.projecttribute.com. Thanks and have a great one. Alrighty, so good evening. John Beckloff with the Project Tribute Foundation. We just another episode, and we are fortunate that we have Chief Ryan Murray out of Cleveland. And he is the firefighter chief for Cleveland, Oklahoma, and it's a rural town in Oklahoma, not too terribly small, but it's definitely it's not one of our bigger cities. So tell us about yourself, Chief, and so really kind of what we do is we just have you introduce yourself, and then we'll go through just some standard questions and just kind of see how it goes. So first question is going to be tell us about yourself, anything you want our listeners to know.
Name's Ryan Murray. I've been the chief here for 9 years, I believe. Been on the department for 19. Wow. Actually, March be 20 years. Combined volunteer and full time. So, hometown guy. I've lived here all my life. That's about what I've got.
Sure. So now your day job is the chief of fire.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So it's a paid position, not a volunteer.
Right. Cleveland is a combination department where we've got 15 or 17 volunteers and 5 full-timers, including myself.
Wow. Okay. So our first one that we did with the fire department, it was a full fire department, full volunteer. And then Justin also, for his day job, worked in Bartlesville Fire as a full-time firefighter. So he kind of did both, really. So Monday through Friday, you've got the 5 paid. How does the paid people work?
Well, we're pretty unique here. Us and I believe Drumright Fire Department down in Creek County are about the only 2 departments like us in the state. I'm not sure about the rest of the country, but we actually dispatch for the police and do the fire departments, and we dispatch for 6 other fire departments also. Wow. So actually we're here 12 hour shifts, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay, so you're fire chief and dispatch.
Right. Yes. But I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
8,
9 to 5 or whatever. But
sure.
But yeah. So yeah, we're a little bit different than most fire departments around.
That's interesting. Yeah. All right. So you've been going on your 20th year. And then training-wise, how did you get into being a firefighter?
My road to being a firefighter was a little bit weird, I guess. Most guys, whenever they're kids, hey, I want to be a firefighter whenever I grow up. I was 26 years old. I'd worked in the grocery stores or business for 10 years before that. One day in the local paper, our fire chief at the time, she had put in that she was looking for part-time temporary dispatchers. So I thought, why not? I may as well see what that goes on. I was a little kid. We always had a scanner growing up. So, we always got to listen to fire and police calls and stuff. And so I knew the 10 codes pretty good. So I figured it wouldn't be too bad of a deal. And that's where my volunteer time started. So I started doing that. And probably July, August, she had asked me to come on full time because they were pretty short. We're pretty much a hub. We were pretty much a hub for guys to come in, get your training, and they're going to move on to Tulsa or Bartlesville or wherever else. So just being a hometown person, I took $1 an hour pay cut and come to the fire department, and it's where I'm at now. So 19 years later.
Sure. No, I mean that's a pretty cool story. I was not expecting dispatch to be part of that. I mean, no one really thinks of a chief running dispatch or even a firefighter running dispatch. So that's
Right,
interesting.
and usually doesn't, but like I said, us and drum right are pretty unique in that way, I guess.
Does that help you with so dispatch? You're dispatching for Cleveland police or other like the highway patrol? How does that work?
Mainly the Cleveland Police Department, but around in the rural areas with the troopers, they usually have a radio with our channel in it, and if they can't get a hold of their dispatch or whatever, or their dispatch is really busy, they can usually holler at us, and we'll get them through their traffic stop.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, it's definitely there was a lot of hills and kind of deep areas to get just to you guys, and it was impressive when the highway patrol was there that you all really do work pretty close together. I mean, you all knew each other, so that was fun to watch.
Yes, troopers around here, deputies in the county, we pretty much all know each other. We work with each other quite a bit on car crashes and stuff like that. So yeah, we get to know each other. Plus, those three of the five troopers that were here that night have been in this area for at least 10 years. So
Oh wow, wow,
yeah,
it's I don't know what they feed the troopers, but man, they definitely stand out in a room.
those are some big old boys, aren't they?
There were some big old boys. That's awesome. So, with the volunteers, Justin and his group, basically they got paid per call. Is that how your volunteers work?
Yes,
Okay. And so, same thing that when your volunteers are showing up, do they go to the station first and then run out, or do they meet you guys at wherever the call is?
we prefer them to come to the station first and grab a truck. Like the other night, we had a car crash out west of town, and one of my guys lives out there, and it was been almost he would have had to pass the crash to come to the station and grab a truck.
Sure,
So so I just went ahead and had him going out there for that. It's kind of a on by call basis on how we do it.
sure,
But we would prefer you come on to the station and go out in a fire truck on stuff like that, especially where that crash was at. It was a pretty sketchy area without any shoulders on the highway, so it gets pretty scary when you're trying to park a personal vehicle out in those areas.
yeah. I mean, it really is. That was a tough drive home, just in the Jeep with the wind blowing and all that stuff. It's that's not easy roads to go down.
No,
So with the volunteers, the gear, the all the stuff that they carry, is that purchased on their own, or do they get it as part of being a volunteer through the department? Or
the city actually pays for that. I'm pretty lucky. We've got a city fire budget, so
okay,
that goes for our pay and all of our equipment and everything. Volunteers, about the only thing we have them pay for is if they want T-shirts.
sure. I That's why I'm trying to make some money off of t-shirts too. So I get it. T-shirts and patches is what I keep being told that I need to do better about. So um, Jared was going to fight me over that patch, and so I asked him if he'll do something cool with patches, we'll get it going.
I need to
Um,
order some more of those.
yep. Sorry about that. Alrighty. So one of the questions I ask everybody is on general civilian sees you guys either working a wreck or at the grocery store or whatever, and it's obvious you're a firefighter. Um, what are ways that you prefer or ways that were memorable of a civilian coming coming and telling you thank you?
It's just general. Of course, like I said, I've lived here all my whole life. I probably almost know probably 75 to 80% of the people here in town. So, but just for people that I don't know, just, walk up, say, hey, thanks for everything, and shake hands, and then probably chat for a little bit if they have any questions or anything, and then go on about our merry way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's one of the things that people don't understand. First responders overall are serving the areas that they're from. And that, I mean, especially when you start looking at the rural towns that we're trying to serve, you're not moving to some of these smaller areas if you didn't know about them, or if there wasn't something pulling you there. And so that's one of the things that I've noticed is that really first responders they're serving their hometowns, and that's a big one. So same question, but on the other side of it, what are things that you don't want to be asked, or is there anything?
I don't generally know. Of course, confidential information.
Sure.
You can't tell nothing about that. But um, if they have a legitimate question, I'll usually answer it. Of course, like I've seen you talk about it before. The what was the toughest call you ever had, or whatever like that. That they like one of the guys was saying, you guys really don't want to know what
Right.
that was. So
Yeah, and that's what Jared kind of his Jared and well, really all the men were very much. I don't want to talk about it, and you don't probably want to hear how bad it really is. And then I talked with a group of female police officers, and all of them were, "I'm an open book." And it sounds like you're kind of in between, laid back of, "I'll answer any questions." Um, so are you on the fence, or do you have one leaning one way or the other?
I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, it just really depends, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Um, but I'd like one of the other guys was saying too. I probably will not tell you what it was.
Right. So you'll
Um,
just say it was a bad wreck, not
yeah,
yeah.
not go into specifics on it or anything.
Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm noticing is that the our female officers, they were, I'll tell you everything. I mean, you ask, and it seems like it was more if you asked a very direct question, have you done XYZ, they would answer versus just give the details, kind of like what you're saying.
Right? Yeah.
Jared was more, I'm going to give you an out. I'm going to start the story, and then we can decide if you want to continue the story or not.
Right.
Um, so the other one that we missed on the first couple ones that I'm trying to add into this is, why do you enjoy the job? Why do you do it?
I like helping people. Just like everybody else. Pretty much. I Like I was telling you earlier. This wasn't something I wanted to do for as a little kid, but as I started getting into it, I kind of got the call for it, I guess you could say. It's just, you go out and see the people in the worst day of their lives, and you just have a chance to help people. And like I said, just being from a small town where I pretty much know about everybody, it probably I got a 75% chance whenever I show up on a call, I want to know who it is,
Right.
whether it be a medical call, a car crash, their house is on fire, whatever else. Um, and I have had the experience of being there on scene, whether it be a car crash or a house fire or whatever, and somebody coming up to me, the homeowner or whoever was in the crash or whatever, say, Ryan, I'm glad you're here.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's the other side of this is that, does it make it easier or harder that these are? I mean, it's people that you know by first name.
Yeah, it definitely makes it harder. Um, you know, I've I've done CPR on people I know,
Yeah.
and that it hits you pretty hard every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I mean I personally never been a first responder, never done that. I mean, I remember one time in my life I came across a motorcycle wreck, and it was pretty bad, and I remember every single thing about that wreck. And so I can't imagine you guys are going to do that, especially in your area, lots of car wrecks and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, so at the end of a call, what do how do you decompress? You either go back to the station or your volunteers go home. How do you guys handle that?
We've got a pretty good sized front bumper on our engine, and usually whenever we get back and get everything put up and everything else, people just round up, either set it on that bumper or lean on it or whatever, and we'll usually talk for however long people want to stick around,
Sure.
and just talk about it, or you know, and then of course everybody else has got a story for something else that happens sort of like that, and we'll go into that, and I'm pretty lucky also. I've got three of my firefighters are also pastors, and they pretty much all three of them has been through some sort of training on that. So that
Fantastic.
helps us out quite a bit too.
Yeah, and that's what. It seems like a lot of the police, and maybe it's because of Oklahoma as well, but a lot of the police departments I've come across, I've met their chaplain. We've got Bartlesville. I've met three of them, I believe, and all of them have just been phenomenal resources. We've had a lot of in the line of duty deaths in our area, be it through Tulsa or whatever, and the chaplains have really stepped up and been that ear to listen to. Jared is he's trying to connect with a peer support. I don't know if it's a group or if it's a organization and do a podcast with them over the next couple days. So that seems to be really just seems like getting everyone to talk it out is probably more of a critical tool than people recognize. I mean, it sounds so
Oh, yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Um, so you know, we talked about why do you like the job? What are the struggles you face on the job?
Going back again to, I've lived here all my life, and
Yeah, yeah, that makes
I know all these people.
yeah,
Um, that's a lot of it too. Plus, we're on call 24/7.
yep.
2 o'clock in the morning, you get a structure fire. It's going to be the same guys that every time that go out with you. So, um, unless pretty much unless you're go on vacation and you go somewhere for a vacation, you're pretty much tied to your phone or your radio or whatever. Um, just there's really not too many bad aspects of the job other than that.
Well, and that's I think the same thing. People don't understand that when you're a firefighter or first responder, I mean, I'm sure you and I were just kind of chuckling, just trying to schedule this, and you're not the first. I mean, Jared, he's on his fifth or sixth attempt this week with somebody, and this is pretty common of just trying to. And I get it. I mean, we should be the very last thing your family or whatever your downtime because it's so limited. I should be the very last thing that's getting your time unless it's hey man, this is a good moment to do it. But I don't think that the general populace understands that it's the whole family that is part of the firehouse, not just the firefighter or even just the volunteer. I mean, it's everybody's doing Christmas at the firehouse or everybody's doing the holidays, whatever. Um, yeah.
Thanksgiving, we had
Oh,
Thanksgiving here at the firehouse this year.
nice.
Um, I'm here, and then my brother also is a firefighter for me also. So he was working that day, and so we had everybody all the medics and everybody that's here. A few of the medics actually live here. We've got a private ambulance service, so we've got medics coming from everywhere else all over the state to work that day, and then we've got a couple of them that are from here that work for the company. So yeah, everybody's families just came up for Thanksgiving that day, and we probably had 40 people up here for
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
wow. That's fantastic. I mean, and I think that that's the other thing is you guys have such a phenomenal community in especially the smaller towns, but just the firefighters in general, the culture of firefighters has always been very fun to learn about and be around. Um, just because it is very driven of you're going on the truck as a team, so you have to get along. You have to, I mean, you have to become family.
Right,
Everyone's sitting on the bumper at the end of a call.
right.
Yeah, that's solid. So extra funds. I mean, it's a common question and a common problem with anything that's run by the state. Funding is. I mean, I'm assuming. Is there ever too much money in the firefighter realm? Have you run into that
No,
problem?
no,
Right. So
no.
I
I
mean, I
could
think
uh, I could easily spend about $4 million in about 20 minutes here right now.
right. I mean, that's you guys like gear and gadgets for sure. So, when you do find, I mean, what do you when you're seeking extra funding, what are the basics that the litmus test? I mean, obviously you're not buying a fire truck every day or every week. Most
Right.
departments are getting the hand-me-down trucks.
Yes.
So, when you decide, hey, we need money, what's kind of what are the what are the last couple things that you've gone and said we need to fundraise for?
Um, bunker gear. Actually, usually just little stuff,
Sure.
mostly. Backpack blowers for grass fires and rakes and just kind of more stuff that we need, but we really don't need it that bad.
Sure. It would
Um,
make it easier, but it's not. We can fight the fire, but this would make it better.
right. Yes. And,
Okay.
just little things like that. So there's nothing really major that we really that I'm lucky in that way that I really need to go fight for.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, just little stuff that makes it our jobs a little bit easier. That just as easy to go fundraise and get a little bit of money for, and not have to come out of my regular budget for that.
Sure. And what do you find as pretty successful ways of fundraisers?
We actually have baked potato sales every
Okay.
once in a while. Baked potato lunch. Of course, we do the old pancake breakfast and stuff like that. But every once in a while, we'll have a. Of course, we haven't done it in a couple of years, but we had bought a chainsaw a few years ago
Yep.
and raffled that off. Just pretty much whatever we can come up with.
Sure.
Car washes.
Yeah. I'm a fondness for potatoes, so that's pretty cool. You made my day right there.
And that actually goes over pretty good too.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, people can just gnaw on their potato as they're trucking along. So yeah, I get it, man. Um, so how can your citizens, or if you're a citizen of a rural department, how can they help? And first, how do they find out what you need, and then how can they help you?
Right. A lot of the times, especially whenever we get into bad grass fire seasons, everybody wants to do something then. So we'll have almost pallets of water and Gatorade show up to the fire station during that time. Um, you know, they can anybody can come in and just write a check if they want.
Sure.
Actually, what we really need is volunteers.
Okay. So how does somebody become a volunteer at your department?
I'd come in, get an application. We prefer you live within 5 miles of the fire station. You can't have any. Of course, you can't be a felon. You gotta have a good driving record and all that. Uh, but yeah, if there's something for everybody to do in the fire station.
Right. And then
Um,
what about, like, is there licensing requirements or testing or physical fitness? What's the requirement to just do it?
for a volunteer, no. And all the training and stuff like that, we can get that for you once we get started here.
Okay.
We usually try. Myself, and my assistant chief Steve Stevens, my brother Chad, or Captain Murray. Um, we can all teach Oklahoma State firefighter training classes here. So pretty much a good variety of classes that get you started. We can usually have a class here, or generally there's a class around somewhere around that we can send you to or whatever, to get you started and all that, and just go from there.
Okay. Well, fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, everybody's hurting for manpower, but the volunteer, and then it's volunteer, but they get paid as well, or is
Yes,
it?
they do here. The surrounding fire departments around us, like Osage and North 48 and Peninsula and all those guys, they're just strictly volunteer.
Okay.
But
So it kind of
but
depends,
here,
because Dewey is a paid volunteer department, but I
right?
also know, like, there's a couple farm volunteer fire departments, and then some actual, like, town based ones as well. Um, so the other question is on the foundation. I mean, what's the biggest thing you think? As we showed up and we brought the I don't have one, but the kits,
Right.
and handed those out, and those were definitely, I feel like those have been pretty well received. But when we
Yes.
left, you would have processed the whole, after you met us and all that stuff, and started thinking, man, these guys should do XYZ. How can we better aid rural departments? I mean, what do you think? What are ways that you thought we could support you guys better?
And that medical equipment helps a lot.
Okay.
Just to be real honest with you, because that's probably some of the most expensive stuff that most of them's got to purchase, because the most expensive stuff that they don't wouldn't actually normally go out and purchase.
Right.
I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
I mean, it seems like
Um,
tourniquets overall has not been on anybody's line item budget. If they have them, it's because they got them somewhere at Oklahoma State training or something like that. No
Right,
department that I've met is issuing tourniquets.
right. And I don't know why. I mean, they're they're not that expensive, but then again, if you need to buy a tank of gas
Yep.
for your truck or buy a tourniquet, you're going to buy a tank of gas.
Yep. Okay.
So
So really, the first day, I mean, because that's the question that if you're a donor listening to this, you're going to want to know why. First aid gear, that should be a city budget line item, which yes, but everything should be. It's just a
right,
matter of you only have so many dollars. And so if I can make, if I can get somebody that wants to help their local department and they just want to donate some, tourniquets, that does fill a need. I mean,
it does, and the department you donate them to will be more than happy to take them.
yep. And that's so far that's what I've walked into. And I think that it was also fun just to be able to say, thank you. We're thinking about you. I know you've never met me a day in your life, but here I'm here for you. And that was fun just kind of hanging out with everybody in the room the other day too. You guys are
It was, yeah,
you're a fun group.
We try to be.
Sure, sure. So really, that's kind of gone through my list of questions. What else do you want to share? I mean, any other things you want to talk about? Any fun stories? The big one that everyone's talked about is miracles, but they've never shared a miracle that they witnessed. Have you witnessed a miracle or something you walked away going, that shouldn't have happened that way, but it did?
I've seen a few.
Okay, you want to
You
talk about
know,
one?
uh,
It's
just
okay
going
if you
back
don't.
to the vehicle accidents again. It's kind of weird because you walk up to a car crash and you can't even tell what kind of vehicle it is, but the person that was driving it is standing over on the side of the road, acting like they didn't even get hurt or nothing. And but then again, you go to another one that doesn't look that bad, and the person's deceased.
Right.
It's just kind of weird. But if probably if I could sit here and think about
Sure.
for a little bit, I could probably think of a specific one, but just kind of in general, that's about the only one I can really think. The farthest I can think of right now.
Yeah.
Um,
No, and I put you on the spot on that one, so I get you.
yeah. um, yeah, I really can't think of anything just right off the top of my head right
Sure,
yet.
sure. No worries. So in the rural fire, you're going to do structure fires, you're going to do first aid or medical calls, grass fires, obviously. Um,
Yes.
I don't know if the Caney River goes by you guys. So do you do any swiftwater rescue or search and rescue, anything like that?
Actually, the Arkansas River is what 200 yards that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you
Um,
do swiftwater rescue then?
no, actually, 19 years I've been here, we've done two.
Still counts. That's
Yeah.
that in the bucket. You did it. So you
Yep.
did it.
And one of them was about 3 months ago. We've got one our city parks out here has a boat ramp off into it, and if you don't watch where you're going out there, you'll hit a sandbar. And sure
Yep.
enough, we had a guy hit a sandbar out there, so we had to drop our boat out and run out there and get them and bring them back in. Luckily, their sandbar was about 2 feet below the water, so they weren't really in too much of a danger. But
Sure.
we had to
Yeah.
still take our boat out there and rescue them and bring them back to shore again. So,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, we're a small department, but we do just about everything.
Yeah.
In the 19 years I've been here, I've seen just about anything any other fire department does. You go to Tulsa, and there's probably firefighters that's been on Tulsa for 20, 25 years that has never been on a grass fire.
Okay.
They
That makes sense.
they may have never even seen a grass fire. Of course, let's say that, and then here we've never done a high angle rescue. So
True.
and then that same guy may have done 17 or 18 of them.
Yeah.
So but we do have a pretty good variety of stuff out here. We like I said, probably 75% of our calls are grass fires, other than medical calls.
Okay.
Grass fires, car crashes, hazmat. Um, You know, we get a variety of everything out here. Rescuing cats out of trees.
That really happens. I didn't. Okay, so you've really done that.
Not as much as it used to, but yeah, it will every once in a while. Like I usually tell the person, "Have you ever seen a cat skeleton in a tree?" You
Right,
know?
right. That's funny. So really the final question, in your 20 years of being there, what's something that you're just what's if you were to say one thing that you were proud of, that man, when you look back and you go, man, that was I'm happy we did that, or I did this. Is there anything that stands out to you that when you're telling your grandchildren and 30 years from now about something you did that you were proud that you did? What would that be?
Hmm, that's a good question.
I'm trying.
Uh, like I said, if I could sit here and think about it for a little bit, I'd probably think of something. But
Sure, sure.
just
I know I put you on the spot on that one.
can we come back to that one?
Sure. We're yeah, I mean that's really all I've got left is just is there anything else that you want, if somebody doesn't know what rural fire departments do, or what a firefighter does, what else have we not covered? You mentioned earlier you'd watched the other podcast. Is there anything that you're like, man, I wish you would have talked about, or hey, we need to dive deeper into something else? Is there any other topics you want to go into?
Just going back to the volunteering
Yep.
stuff. I know people's got lives and they've got kids and jobs and everything else, but you know uh, it's not just here. It's America is hurting for volunteers in the fire service,
Yep.
and actually on law enforcement also. They're hurting for reserve officers, whether it be the sheriff's office or the city PDs or whatever. Um, Ambulance services, you know, they're hurting for EMTs and paramedics. And it's not that bad of a job. I know it doesn't pay that much, but even if you got time from your regular job or to work a shift on an ambulance once a month or whatever, or go to EMT school and do that for a little bit, or come out and volunteer for your fire departments or your police departments. Um, it would be a really big help. And a couple of years ago, even older adults can volunteer now. Um, Oklahoma used to, even for the volunteers, is between 18 and 45. After you
Mhm.
turned 45, you couldn't even be a volunteer anymore. But they have changed that in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Um, if you're a diesel mechanic and you're willing to donate your time to help fix some fire trucks or whatever, I mean that people would, or there's a lot of volunteer fire departments out there that would love that even. You know,
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't even considered that, but the farm towns. I mean, that's a solid one. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you're good at paperwork, and computer skills, there's a lot of fire departments that we have to all run our not enter in all of our run reports
Hmm.
into a system in the computer system that goes to the state. If you got 10 15 minutes a day, or an hour or a week or whatever, and you want to come in and do something, I'm sure they'd probably let you type in those run reports into the system.
Well, that's what
Just
I had somebody just today ask me about. Hey, do you have volunteer hours? And I don't, but it makes sense that. So I'll reach back out to them and just let them know. Hey, because we've got several volunteer fire departments around us that I'm
mhm.
sure that they could use the help.
Oh yeah.
So now, police, you can go do a ride along. Can you do a ride along with a fire truck? And I understand COVID throws in there too, but
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier to do it with the police department.
sure.
It's kind of depends on us how many people show up, and I mean, I could tell you, yeah, and then if we get a house fire or whatever, and I get 5 guys show up, there's 5 guys that can fit in that truck, so more
Right.
than likely you're probably not going to get to go,
So
unless.
really the best way for somebody to learn is just go by the firehouse and talk with y'all
Oh yeah.
and
Yep.
okay. And then trying to think. Yeah, the Bartlesville had the monthly work requirement, and I mean, it wasn't much. It seemed like 2 shifts, maybe 3 shifts an entire month to maintain that reserve status. I don't know on the fire side. I don't know if Bartlesville does reserve fire. They might.
No,
Um,
Bartlesville is just totally full time.
okay, yeah, I know that all the areas around us do. Um, and then if somebody wanted to look up information, you guys do you have a website or anywhere they could go see for Cleveland?
It'd actually be on
The city
the
website, maybe.
city, or we do have a little bit of information on there. Probably the easiest thing to do is just either call me, or if they see me out on the street or whatever, just ask.
Okay.
Um, or even if he's not around here, if somebody wants to get information, they can usually call their local fire department, or if they know any of their firefighters around there, they just ask them, and more than likely they'll probably know.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I've learned is there's the captains and chiefs are kind of the easy ones to get with, and even just meeting a firefighter when you see him out, hey, see somebody in uniform, hey, I'd like to volunteer. It just takes that walking up and asking questions. I mean,
Right.
that seems to be the simplicity of it. Well, the final thing, circling back to, did you ever come up with something you're proud about?
Um,
You can be proud just to be a firefighter too. That's perfectly
yeah,
fine.
I mean that's a lot of it. I mean, there's a whole lot of things I've been proud of, but it's just thinking of one thing that
Sure.
just to point it out, it's kind of hard. But this has been a been a fun ride so far. Not always fun, but it's been a rewarding job.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always an honor just to meet you guys and to stand in front of you and learn about your stories at your department or here on this podcast. I think that the other side of it is it allows others that want to share. The only reason we did the podcast is because one of my board members, Justin Miller, and he's a firefighter, and Jared also, both of them separately mentioned podcasts. And so stupid me was like, yeah, let's do it. And then every week I'm chasing down firefighters trying to get them on the damn podcast.
Yeah.
But so it's been a great avenue. I think Jared himself has found it therapeutic of just talking, just kind of saying, hey, this is the reality of what we do. We're helping our neighbors. That comes with some benefits. That also comes with some cost. So really, is there anything else? I mean, I think we've done a really good job just getting a pretty good overview. How about the size of Cleveland? We never talked about Cleveland itself.
Cleveland's about 3,500 people, give or take. It almost seems like the same amount of people move out as the same, or move back in. So I think since about 1950, we've been about the same size. So we've never
Sure.
grown, and we never got any smaller.
And what's the main industry of Cleveland? Like what is the big thing?
Oil field,
Okay.
or most of our uh, businesses around here are oil field related. I think our biggest employer is our school system, and then second to Walmart, and then the hospital. Um, you know, a lot of people from Cleveland drive back and forth to Tulsa to work,
Okay.
um, Tulsa area. So, but yeah, it's our biggest industry is probably our oil field stuff.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to tell us about your town?
Um, we're just your typical Oklahoma small town. We've got a super Walmart and a Sonic, just like everybody else.
Hey, there you go. Now you haven't hit it big until you have the Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
we
when you
did
do
get a McDonald's a few years ago, so
Oh, is
we're
it still there?
yeah, we're kind of moving up the ladder a little bit.
There you go. We just need some Whataburgers. That's what I want.
Yes, I was talking about that with my wife yesterday. If we could at least get a Whataburger, out here, or at least Sand Springs, would be a whole lot better.
Right. There's something about how they make, man. It's some good food.
Yep, I ate there yesterday.
Yeah, we'll talk about healthy eating for first responders in another topic. We definitely firefighters are known for their healthy eating. It's
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
Especially in rural Oklahoma, healthy eating is that's a solid one. So
Yep, exactly. I
well,
need to get back on it again.
we all do. It's fine. We'll make it. Is there anything else, man? I just want to, thank you for your time. You're on shift, and I just appreciate you giving me, almost an hour of your day. But is there anything else you have?
Yeah, actually, I just thought of something. A lot of the times I get asked what that somebody needs to do to actually start into full-time firefighter career.
Yes.
Um, the biggest thing I can tell you is to go to EMT school. There is very few fire departments anymore that will hire you without being an EMT. Um, a lot of the times, even if you're not firefighter one, don't worry about taking firefighter classes, because a lot of them either have their own academies or they'll send you to the fire academy. But the biggest thing is to go to EMT school.
Okay, that's good to know. And what about physical fitness for just becoming a full-fledged firefighter? What's the best way to prepare?
Just run, and it's all just to get good shape, lift weights, cardio, a lot of cardio. Um, I think I was watching one of the podcasts yesterday, and he was talking about you need to learn to use muscles that you usually don't use. There's a lot of uh, pike pole stuff that you need to learn how to do, pulling ceilings and stuff like that. And there's a lot of the fire departments now that are incorporating in that into their entrance exam. So um, there is a state one the state actually uses. If you don't have one, you can use theirs. But there's like Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and I think there's a few other fire departments that's got their own they use now. So, but yeah, here you got to be able to run a mile and a half in 13 minutes and do 25 setups and push-ups within a time amount. And then there's a couple other little deals you got to do. You got to be able to walk on a balance beam.
Okay.
And actually, from what I've heard, that's what kills a lot of the guys is that,
The balance.
I don't know if they're getting overconfident walking down that balance beam and then they just fall off of it or what, but you fall off of that's usually a critical mistake and you're done with your test for that day. And you put in another application to come back again later.
Wow.
But,
And is it in full gear or just
nope, it's just running shorts and tennis shoes or whatever.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, like I said, I don't know if the guys are just getting overconfident on it and start walking across and just fall off of it, and boom, they go. But that was kind of a weird deal for me. But
So knowledge-wise, EMT school is a solid foundation, and then physical fitness is the other. Have those two pieces, and that'll be on the right track for becoming a firefighter.
right, and a lot of the fire departments, bigger fire departments, will have a written exam also before they when they're on their hiring process.
Okay.
So it's usually just kind of a basic knowledge stuff, and then there is a lot of firefighting stuff thrown in there, and a lot of you can usually find uh, test guides, I guess you could say, somewhere, kind of what their test is over, and you can usually study those and help you out quite a bit also.
And also, if somebody's looking into leadership of fire departments, I like my very first degree, and my brother and his friends, Justin Miller, they all went to Oklahoma State, the fire protection safety technology as their degree. So there is the leadership side of it for some departments having a degree and then, kind of working your way up. And then, also, so education requirement just to be a fireman is is a high school diploma, GED?
High school diploma or GED.
Okay. And then get you in the base.
That's basic, and then if you got a degree, it's even better.
Okay. Well, fantastic.
Of course, I don't have a degree, but
School of Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, again, I thank you for taking the time. We definitely want to do several of these, and so if you're interested, I mean, I kind of we're starting to learn how to do the panels and have multiple people all at once, and getting as people get more comfortable, they're like, "Hey, John, I want to do it again." So if you're interested, I'll definitely bring you back. And
Sure.
The last firefighter I had on here was our most watched podcast, and it may just be because he was really pretty. I don't know, but we'll see if the chief name throws gets more people that they want to see what you have to say.
Yeah.
So, kind of final remarks. Is there anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for letting us come down, and it's hard to ask for help, and so I appreciate you guys going on to our Facebook page and our website, and asking for help. And so if you're watching this, you go to our website projecttribute.com, you go request funding and just fill out the form, and then I'll reach out to you to figure out exactly how many, whatever the request is for. And then we get fundraising. And so that's what our friends here at Cleveland Fire, it was actually Cleveland Fire and Cleveland Police. And then by the end of it, we helped their game warden, we helped their highway patrol. And so that's our goal, is to really support all of our first responders through the podcast or through our website or through our Facebook page. So this will air tonight at 8:00 on all the various podcast shows. So just search projecttribute.com or Project Tribute Foundation. And then on YouTube, you found it. And same thing on YouTube, Project Tribute Foundation. And then I'll post this on our Facebook page as well. So with that, thank you very much.
John, thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Happy to serve you.
Appreciate it.
This podcast is hosted by the Project Tribute Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to aiding our first responders. Thank you for listening. For more information on our efforts, check us out at www.projecttribute.com. If you're a first responder that would like to share your story, contact us at projecttributefoundation@gmail.com. You can find us on various social media and podcast sites by searching the Project Tribute Foundation. 100% of donations are used to save lives, while our retail store pays for any of our operational costs. Thank you again, and please be sure to like us, follow us, and share our foundation with your friends. Stay tuned weekly as we continue to share our stories from our nation's heroes. Thank you.